I walked into my boss's office and saw a framed photo of him and my girlfriend on his desk. He said, "Small world." I said, "Not small enough." That afternoon, I scheduled a company-wide Zoom. Title of the meeting: Let's Talk About Boundaries. The recording still gets shared. I'm Greg, 37, born and raised in Indiana. I work in IT. Not a flashy job, but a stable one. I handle systems, security, passwords, backups. I'm the guy who gets called when someone's email won't load or when someone clicks a suspicious link. 9 years at the same logistics firm in Indianapolis. Steady paycheck. Good benefits. Nothing fancy, but enough. 3 years ago, I met Megan. She was helping a neighbor walk their dog when we bumped into each other at the park. One thing led to another. We clicked fast. She moved into my place after a year. She worked as a vet tech, loved animals, didn't like crowds. We had routines, traditions. Friday takeout, Saturday pancakes, morning coffee with silence, and shared phone scrolling. Everything felt steady, or I thought it did. About 4 months ago, the cracks started. It wasn't one big thing, just small moments that didn't add up. She started working late. Emergencies at the clinic. Extra shifts covering coworkers. At first, I didn't think twice. She loved animals. She was kind. That kind of person stays late to help a sick puppy. But then she started pulling away. Her phone started living face down. Her texts were short. She laughed at messages, but wouldn't say from who. She started showering as soon as she got home, even when it was late. Sometimes she didn't even say hi, just walked past me and went straight to the bathroom. Then I noticed it. A smell. Not perfume, cologne. Expensive. Not mine. I tried to ignore it. Told myself I was being paranoid. That I was tired. That maybe she was just stressed from work. Then came the day everything snapped. It was a Thursday. Regular workday. I got an email from our operations team. My boss, Scott, our new VP, was having webcam issues. He needed it working for a board-facing discussion. I didn't think much of it. Just another day in IT. I walked into his office, clipboard in hand. He was standing by the window, looking out like he was in a damn commercial. "Camera's acting up," he said, casual. I walked over to his desk, and that's when I saw it. A photo. Framed. Clean silver. Front and center, next to his mousepad. It was him and Megan, smiling, arm around her waist. At a vineyard or maybe a fancy backyard party. Wine glasses in hand. Her head on his shoulder. It wasn't an old photo. She was wearing the same jacket I saw her wear 2 weeks ago. I stopped. He saw me looking. He smiled. "Small world," he said, like he was making a joke. I felt my chest tighten. My tongue dried up. I stared at him and said the first thing that came to my mind. "Not small enough." He chuckled like he'd just landed a punchline. Guess she didn't mention we knew each other. I didn't say a word after that. Just nodded, fixed his camera, and left. My hands were shaking, but I kept it cool until I made it back to my desk. That's when I stopped thinking and started planning. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to fight. I was going to destroy him. I spent the next 2 hours pulling logs. See, Scott wasn't just careless. He was arrogant. He used his work phone for personal calls. He left his devices unsecured. He synced his personal photos to his work cloud. And he had no idea that I, as lead IT, had access to everything. I cross-checked phone logs. Looked at timestamps. There were dozens of calls between him and Megan. After hours. On weekends. During company events. I pulled GPS data from the company car he used. Tracked it to a motel off I-70 the same nights Megan claimed she had to stay late. I checked security footage from our garage. There she was, climbing into his car, smiling. I had all I needed. At 2:15 p.m., I created a Zoom meeting. Titled it, "Let's Talk About Boundaries." I made it mandatory, company-wide. Set it for 3 o'clock. I knew people would join. Nobody skips IT meetings. Everyone thinks it might be security training or a phishing update. I clicked record. At 3 o'clock, 64 employees joined the call. I began. "Thanks for making time today. This will be brief. We're addressing a very important topic, personal and professional boundaries." I shared my screen. First slide, a list of calls. Scott's number. Megan's number. Timestamps. Frequency. Second slide, a map with location pings. Third slide, garage footage. Then I showed the photo, the one on his desk. I didn't say a word. Just let the silence sit. People stared. I heard gasps. A few mouths hung open. One person whispered, "No way." Scott logged off the call. I let the recording keep running. Then I ended it and uploaded it to the company's shared drive under mandatory viewing. I was fired by 5 o'clock. Walked out with a cardboard box. But the damage was done. The video started spreading. People sent it around, screenshotted it. Some even made memes. But most just watched it in stunned silence. Scott's wife found it. She emailed me. Said she filed for divorce that night. Thanked me for being thorough. HR launched an internal review on Scott. Not for the affair, but for the security breaches, company time abuse, and unethical behavior. They had to. Half the office saw it. Megan tried to text me. Said I humiliated her. I didn't answer. But I left the video up. And people still share the link. It had been 3 weeks since the Zoom call. I hadn't heard from Scott. Not a word from HR. Not even a warning letter from legal. But I wasn't stupid. I knew something was coming. You don't drop a bomb like that and walk away clean. The fallout started slow. First, a few coworkers reached out. Texts, DMs. Some were shocked. A few were quietly cheering me on. One guy from accounting wrote, "You did what we all wish we had the balls to do." Another said I made the company human again. But others? Not so friendly. A couple anonymous messages called me unstable. Vindictive. Said I dragged private lives into the workplace. That I made them all complicit in my drama. One even threatened legal action, saying I broke confidentiality laws. I wasn't worried. Everything I showed was from company devices and cameras. Nothing illegal. Just uncomfortable. I thought that was it. Until I got the letter. A formal notice. Lawsuit pending. Scott had filed for defamation, breach of privacy, and professional sabotage. It was laughable, coming from a man who cheated on his wife, used company time for personal hookups, and smiled while doing it. But it was also real. Court was real. Lawyers were real. And expensive. I took the letter to a buddy of mine, Jason. He'd gone to law school before switching to real estate. Smart guy. He read through it and didn't say much. Then he leaned back and looked at me. "He's not trying to win," he said. "He's trying to ruin you. Bleed you dry in court." I sat there, quiet. "He wants revenge," Jason added. "You humiliated him. Now he's going to drag your name through mud, true or not." And it worked for a while. I lost a few clients. The consulting firm I'd started was new, small. Word spreads fast in tech circles. Some people thought I was unstable. Others didn't want to get involved. A few said they admired the honesty but couldn't risk the disruption. I was burning savings fast. Then Megan showed up. At my door. She looked tired. Thin. Like someone who hadn't slept right in days. She asked if she could come in. I didn't say a word. Just stepped aside. She sat on the couch and didn't touch her tea. "I didn't know you worked for him," she said, finally. Not at first. I stared at her. But later, she added, quieter, "Yeah, I knew." I clenched my jaw. She didn't cry. Didn't scream. Just sat there like a ghost. "He said you were boring," she said, barely above a whisper. "Said you didn't notice things. That you were harmless." I felt something snap inside me. I wanted to stop, she said. I was going to. I stood up. "Why are you here, Megan?" She looked up. Her eyes were red. "He's not done," she said. "He's looking into your files. Your clients. He's got someone trying to dig up dirt on you. He wants to destroy you publicly." I didn't say anything. "I thought you should know," she said. "Even if you hate me." Then she left. Just like that. I sat there, the tea still hot in my hand, my head full of new noise. If Scott was trying to play dirty, I needed to dig deeper. I called in a favor from someone who owed me back from a ransomware mess 2 years ago. This guy, Tommy, was a former data analyst turned digital bloodhound. If something existed online, he could find it. If something was buried, he could dig it up. I gave him one name, Scott Rayner. 3 days later, Tommy called me. Voice low, urgent. "You need to see this." He sent a drive. Inside, emails, logs, screenshots. Scott wasn't just sleeping with Megan. She was one of several. He had a pattern. Always women from departments he didn't manage directly. Always using company assets, cars, hotels booked through corporate points, gift receipts filed as client dinners, and one folder labeled Fallout Insurance. It was full of blackmail material, screenshots, messages, edited documents. If anyone ever turned on him, he had something to hold over their head. I wasn't the first to go up against him, but I might be the first to survive. Tommy's drive changed everything. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the screen, the folders wide open. Each one had a name. Each name belonged to someone I vaguely knew, an intern from marketing, a woman from HR, even a former project manager who left suddenly last fall. I never questioned why she was gone. I just figured she found a better offer. Now I knew the truth. They were all part of Scott's pattern. One folder had Megan's name. Inside, chat logs, photos, voice memos. But what hit hardest was the email thread between Scott and someone else, an external email with no name, just a burner domain. Subject, Greg. Message, what's the best way to make this go away permanently? The reply was short, discredit, humiliate, destroy credibility. Attached was a draft, a smear campaign. It listed fake performance issues, edited internal complaints that never existed, even made up claims of workplace harassment tied to my name. The details were so close to believable it made my stomach turn. If you push this out into the world, LinkedIn, recruiter circles, client lists, I'd be done. And now, I wasn't just fighting for payback. I was fighting for my life. I called Jason again, told him everything, showed him the files. He sat there shaking his head, eyes wide. We need to flip this, he said. We go public first. Take the wind out of his sails. What? Like a press release? I asked. No. Bigger. We drafted a whistleblower package. Filed reports with the State Labor Board and the Department of Labor. Then we sent anonymous copies to local news outlets. Not tabloids, real journalists. Ones who lived for workplace corruption stories. But that wasn't all. Tommy found something else. Something worse. An expense report buried under vendor outreach showed payments to a private surveillance firm. Megan wasn't the only one he was tracking. There were invoices for background checks on 5 other employees. GPS tags. Phone data extraction. He was watching them. One of those names? Mine. He had someone following me. And Megan. It wasn't just about sleeping around or using company perks. Scott was covering his tracks with real muscle. I felt sick. Jason told me to sit tight. That the more reckless Scott got, the more mistakes he'd make. But I wasn't going to sit. I had one more card to play. I reached out to Emma. Emma was the project manager who left suddenly last year. Her name was in one of the folders. I found her on LinkedIn, messaged her, and asked if we could talk, off record. She replied in less than 5 minutes. We met at a coffee shop outside the city. She looked nervous. Said she hadn't spoken about it since leaving. That Scott made her sign an NDA under pressure. That HR was involved. That she'd been told she was unstable when she tried to report what happened. She handed me a flash drive. Said she'd saved everything, just in case. Inside, screenshots, a voice recording, and something I hadn't seen before, an email thread between Scott and someone high up in the company. Higher than HR. A name I didn't expect. Brent Wakefield. Our CEO. Turns out, Brent knew about Scott's behavior. Knew. And covered it up. The emails were cold. Corporate. But clear. Handle it quietly. Liability is our concern. Do what you must. It hit me like a brick. This wasn't just Scott. This was systemic. Now I had the whole picture. The truth. The rot at the core. And the clock was ticking. I was going to bring all of it down. The moment I realized the CEO was in on it, something in me shifted. It wasn't just about Scott anymore. This was a system built to protect men like him. Men who smiled while they lied. Who used power like a weapon. Who threw people away when they were done with them. I knew I had to end it all loudly. Jason and I sat down and laid out every piece. The emails. The voice memos. The logs. The video from the Zoom call. The expenses. Emma's flash drive. We organized it all like a damn court case. Then we gave it to 3 places at once. A local news station known for taking down dirty politicians. A federal labor investigator who owed Jason a favor. And, just for good measure, one very angry Reddit community that hated corporate cover-ups more than anything else on earth. The story hit the news on a Monday morning. Vice President and CEO implicated in widespread abuse cover-up at Indianapolis logistics firm. It spread fast. Faster than I expected. Employees started walking out. Clients pulled contracts. The board called an emergency meeting. I watched the building I had worked at for nearly a decade burn down in public, not with fire, but with facts. Scott was terminated within 48 hours. Brent tried to take a leave of absence. That didn't work. Reporters showed up at his house. Protesters camped outside the company's HQ. Someone flew a banner over the office with the words, "Let's talk about boundaries," in big red letters. They became a joke, a meme, a warning. The company never recovered. They sold the brand name 6 months later. New owners. New everything. The old building sits empty now, weeds growing through the parking lot. You can still see the faded sign out front. As for me, I didn't walk away untouched. That video, the Zoom call, it became a symbol, but it also made me a liability. People didn't want the revenge IT guy near their systems. They thought I was dangerous. Maybe I was. I lost a few contracts, lost money, even lost a few friends who didn't agree with how I did things. And Megan? She called once more, left a voicemail, said she was sorry again, said she missed me, said Scott used her too. I didn't call her back. Maybe she was lying. Maybe not. Either way, she was part of it. She saw the damage and did nothing. I moved out of that apartment. Too many memories. Too many ghosts. I rent a small place now, across town. Quiet. Clean. But I kept one thing. The silver-framed photo of Scott and Megan. I didn't smash it. I didn't throw it away. I hung it above my desk, right next to my new company's logo. It reminds me, never let your guard down. Never trust power. And never forget what happens when you cross the wrong man on the wrong day. Because sometimes, he bites back. Hard.